Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Hack Attack with me, International Master Tom Rendle, where tonight we are going to be playing some games on Chess.com, and I'm going to be taking on lovely people, lovely members of that site, at a slightly slower time limit. I'm going to aim to play some 10-minute chess. So actually for those of you who are watching, who are members of Chess.com, what would be fantastic is if I could get some challenges coming in at a time control of 10 minutes plus 0 seconds a move. So I can give everyone a chance to catch up with this. I'm going to start off tonight's broadcast with a couple of 1-minute games. It's going to give me a chance to warm up. It's going to give you a chance to log in and send me these challenges. And then we're going to get ready for this slightly slower time limit. And, okay, my opponent's aborted. He didn't fancy playing an IM. That's fair enough. I'm going to get this 1 minute practice in. And yeah. Okay, so we have our first opponent, Tamalito. I was going to play some weird openings. Let's start off with our good old Knights on the Rim. Although this does look like it might transpose into something proper. Alright, I've got to remember that this is 1 minute chess that we're starting off with. So I must not lose hideously on time. But that should be fine. Look, here we're starting off with a pawn sack in true Benko/Benoni fashion, although my opponent appears to have let me win the pawn back immediately, and oh dear, that follows up with a queen fork on a5. We are going to get off to a very, very quick win in game number 1, and in fact we've got a quick bishop a6 coming in here, and oh, this looks nasty. Queen c2 maybe, knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes c3 is particularly nasty. That does seem to be what we're going to get. He's got to play king d1 here. That's his only try, and he does play that. But now I have an extra rook, extra bishop, and that is that. Oh, could have gone queen e2 on the last go. Shouldn't matter too much. Let's just retreat this back. No reason to make this more complicated than it has to be. Just going to play this, and then queen takes. Maybe c3 first. Be a bit more aggressive. Place the rook behind the advanced passed pawn, pick up the queen, get ready for a sacrifice on b3 because we don't want to win this game up a queen. And I want to finish this game with c2, mate. But, okay, he blocks with the king. Queen. But, yeah. Okay. Just going to give a quick rematch, and then, yeah. From after this game, I'm going to be switching to the slower time limit of 10-0. So yeah, here's your chance if you've been looking to take me on at some slightly slower time limits. So yeah, we had a bit of a break a few weeks ago. So we have shows on consecutive weeks, which I don't know about you, but I'm really happy about. What's going on here? My opponent's playing this game much better than the last one. Ooh, did I speak too soon? Why didn't he just take on g2? I don't know. Alright, and let's just pile up on the f-file. Let's get a little pre-move going. Can we go for a rook sacrifice? There's no reason to. Let's just double up. Ooh! My opponent was trying a bit of the pre-move defence there. Made popular by John last week. Okay, let's just blast this wide. Okay, that didn't blast things as wide open as I thought it would. My opponent's playing this remarkably quickly. I mean, I'm not going to lose to a 1500 at this time control. All right, let's get our pre-move going. And king up, if we put all of our pieces on the light squares, then we're going to win. And take. Let's give a little check. Ooh, we can take that off. And take that off. And push the A pawn. This is not the smoothest of first games. I'm just trying to avoid stalemate tricks here. And that's mate. Whew. I only took the 62 moves there. And okay, we have a bunch of challenges that have come in. And I'm going to accept the guy who got in there first is Journification, who I know is always keen to play. And okay, I was asking for suggestions for openings on Twitter, and 1F3 was the first one I got there. And I can only assume that they wanted me to follow up with King F2. But I think that's a mistake. Not sure about H4 either. I think we should follow up with G3. We can't be taking these games for granted. Then the knight to the edge, and we'll retreat it back to F2 at a reasonable opportunity here. And then this here, maybe we could get a little bit of symmetry on the queen side by playing knight A3 and back to C2. Let us see. I should avoid rushing my moves too quickly here, because we do have 10 minutes on the clock. So once we get past this opening stage, I'm going to try and explain my thoughts a little bit more. Do let me know if you want me to continue on with these crazy openings. You can tweet directly to me at TE Rendle, or to my producer John at Hong Kong John. He's also vaguely monitoring the chat as well, so he'll be able to pass any messages on to me, I'm hoping. Okay, let's start thinking about this. I'm a bit worried he's going to play E4 at some stage. So I'd kind of like to either play E4 or bring my knight back to F2. H6 stops my knight coming out. So we're going to play this move. And as much as we haven't been very ambitious with the white pieces here, we have a reasonably solid position. Okay, so which way should we recapture? If we take with the F pawn, it leaves G4 very, very weak. And yeah, I just don't like it. Whereas if we take this way, it naturally allows our bishop to come into the game. Probably on C4, but B5 is sensible as well. Okay, this knight can now jump to E3, where it overlooks, or it looks over a few key squares, C4, D5 and F5. This knight isn't really doing very much, so going to bring that back to F2 at a convenient moment. This bishop on Z1 doesn't really have any particularly great squares. It could go to E3, but I'm kind of looking to put my knight on that square. So don't really want to move that for the time being. So I'm going to bring this knight back so I can get the bishop out. Okay, bishop e6. That stops me from playing bishop c4, which is what I wanted to do. So I can also see that he's planning to castle queenside. What if I went knight e3 now? Castle queenside, knight d5, bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5. I mean, that's possibly okay, but it's not really what I'm after. Knight e3 castles, bishop c4 is okay as well. But what I want to do here, I've decided, is get my queen off this file. I think he's getting ready to play a rook to d8. So I want to be able to meet that with queen e2, just to sidestep any kind of danger. And also, once my queen's on e2, it means I'll be able to bring the bishop back to c4. And because at the moment, that's his good bishop. Oh, okay, he's flicked that in. Well, that's actually really clever. Well, that's a good move. That's a good move. I can take. I don't want to take... Bishop a4 would be a blunder because of b5, bishop b3, c4. A sort of version of the Noah's Ark trick. Oldest trick in the book. Bishop back to e2, and then he plays this move. I've definitely been made to look a little bit silly over that last move. So now my opponent has the two bishops, and a pretty good position, if I'm being honest. I think instead of bishop b5, I should have just gone for knight e3. And bishop c4 or knight d5. Maybe black was okay there, but this is less clear. Now I'm just wondering what he's going to do with his bishops. Because one option is for him to go c4 and put this bishop on c5. But on the flip side, he might want to go b5 and bishop into c4. Okay, and he goes for that option. Well, now we're definitely going to shut that down with knight e3. And I think we're going to get castled on the king side. Now he will probably follow up with this c4 idea. And bishop c5. c4, knight f5 maybe. Well, we're just going to castle while we have a little think about how we improve our position here. Definitely knight f5 is floating around. But there's no reason for me to leave my king in the centre. And I think now he's played rook d8, he would be well advised to just castle kingside as well. The alternative move is g6 to prevent me from playing knight f5. Okay, any sensible alternatives to knight f5? Well, I could play b3, trying to get c4 in, but after b3, c4, b4, a5, I don't like my position very much. What about knight f5? Bishop takes, pawn takes. I think I can get my knight in. Okay, I think this is going to be okay. Keeping an eye on the clocks, we're relatively even, 7 minutes each. This definitely feels a little bit more relaxed. Oh, have I overlooked bishop c4? Well, possibly. Bishop c4, knight d3, and there's no obvious way of him taking advantage of this pin, because he'd love to be able to move this bishop, but then there'd be a fork with knight e7. Knight d3, this is risky. g6 takes. I think I can get away with this. I mean, I'm sure it's very professional. Okay. Well, I see what he's trying to do here down the d-file, but I'm fairly certain I did have this check. And that's caused an instant resignation. I wonder if he can fight on here. Probably not. So yeah, I think he has to play a move like rook e8 just to cover this square. But then I have time to play something like b3, takes, bishop f8, queen e2, and the game goes on. Okay, let's offer him a rematch. Because no one wants to end their run having lost a queen in that fashion. Okay, so another opening that I saw mentioned, because there's actually an article right now on Chess.com about weird openings. I think it's called something like the 7 weirdest openings. Yeah, if you want a link to that, you can find it. I retweeted it via my Twitter page at @Rendle, and I'm trying to remember what the names of the openings were. There was the orangutan, which is 1b4, so I'm going to play that at some stage. There's the hippopotamus, which is what I'm trying to get in this game. There was the toilet variation, which is a well-known opening invented by, I think it's invented by the English at the English Grand Prix circuit. And there's actually some debate about what the toilet variation is, because the line that they give in the article isn't the line that I believed it to be. because it's sort of like a Grand Prix with e4 and knight c3 and f4. But I always believed that it involved bringing the knight to e4 and then back to f2. But so if there are any toilet variation experts out there, then please do let me know what you consider to be the definitive toilet. And I will try and fit that in later. Although that it is only a line against the Sicilian, so I'll have to be playing 1e4 in order to get it. Let me see, what else was there? There was the Frankenstein Dracula Gambit, which, you see, I don't even know what some of these are. So I'm certainly not going to get round to playing everything that was in that article. But anyway, it was quite a lot of fun. So do go check it out, and maybe you'll find one or two fun ideas to play in your own blitz games. Probably wouldn't advise you to take them all up in your over the board play though. Not unless you're feeling particularly adventurous or... yeah. Anyway, so we have a fairly standard looking hippo here. Idea is pawns go to the 6th rank and then you explode out of the mud, and your seemingly peaceful position is rather more dangerous than your opponent had suspected. So we're going to go a6 and b5 and bishop b7, because yeah, pure hippos tend to be double fianchetto. Okay, he prevents b5, so we play b6. And then bishop b7 and castles and maybe g5. And then we pick a pawn break. It's either g5 or f5 or e5 or d5 or c5 or b5. It'll be one of those. But don't want to rush into making that decision. Just going to put pieces on some squares, see where he puts his king. I'm betting we're going to see castles kingside in the relatively near future. Ooh, but we do see my opponent first one to make a particularly aggressive move. Alright, let's take that off. And knight takes. Well, I'm happy with that swap. Do I want to go bishop b7 or do I want to go g5? I really think I do want to go g5. Just to unpin my knight, bring the knight to this f5 square. It depends how weak my position is here, because that pawn on e5 is rather strong in the, for the time being. It certainly looks like it's going to be supporting a knight coming in there. But in some lines, that pawn might have overextended, and if I get to round it up, after, say, he castles and I play knight takes g3 and queen e7, queen c5, take this off, then it's possible that I'll be doing well. Wow, he plays f4. He plays f4. Take, bishop takes queen h4, g3. Isn't completely clear. Let's just play bishop b7. I like this diagonal for my bishop. I don't see any reason to commit to anything more adventurous than that. And, you know, I've got other sensible moves I can play. I can go queen e7, preparing to come to c5, bring a rook to d8, and he goes queenside. Well, buckle up, guys. This is about to get interesting. b5? Queen e8. I'm just saying moves now. Queen e8, bishop there. b5, bishop there. I don't know. I don't know. I like this move. Just trying to tempt him to grab a pawn and open up my a file. I kind of think he's going to retreat his bishop back here, probably to d3. But he could move his knight and gain a tempo against the queen, but Not so worried about that for the time being. Bishop d3. Queen e6. Oh wow, he opens up the a file. Well, is that a brave decision? Is that a foolish decision? Will he live to regret it? Well, Queen d5. That's a nice central square for a queen. Don't see a rush in playing this check. If it takes on g5, I think I'm just recapturing. I don't see there's any requirement to go crazy just yet. Although there are some crazy ideas out there. Possibly if I can get this bishop into the game, there'll be a few sacrifices around this queen side. Problem is for my opponent that despite being a pawn up, my king is relatively safe right now. And okay, his isn't too bad, I suppose, behind b2 and c3, but I've got two big open lines in this d file and this a file. And I might be able to use the b file as well. Okay, knight f3. So here I can give a check, king c2, go queen e4 check, take bishop d3, take king d2, take king d2, rook d8, king e2. No, it's not convincing, is it? What about queen b3? That's a threatening move. So yeah, so I'm holding this rook a1 check up my sleeve. Trying to stop the king from having c2, which is his preferred running square. So now, if rook check, king d2, queen b2 is very strong. If king b1, I'm kind of liking rook a2 with a lot of threats. One simple threat would be to go rook from f8 to a8, and then rook from a2 to a1 mate. But also after king b1, rook a2, I'm threatening bishop e4 check, hitting the king, because if queen takes the bishop on e4, then I have queen takes b2 mate on b2. So, my pieces are lining their way up against the white king. Will Janification be able to find a way out of this tricky situation? He does still have the extra pawn. What would I play here? I mean, bishop c4 gains time on the queen, but I've still got rook a1 check, queen takes b2. I'm not sure what I would play. Is bishop d3 an option? Bishop d3 makes some sense. Rook a1 check, bishop b1. But he's gone for king b1. Now, I think that's a mistake. I think rook a2 should be very strong. So yeah, so here we have this threat. Rook from f8 to a8, followed by rook a1 mate. But also bishop e4 is very, very strong. Now he might easily be able to defend against one of those threats, but defend against both of them? I don't know. I mean, knight d2 defends against bishop e4, defends against rook a8, but it loses to mate on b2 immediately because it blocks the queen's coverage. Queen c2, bishop e4, bishop d3. But okay, after queen c2 I can simply go rook a1. King takes a1, queen takes c2. And okay, my opponent's probably relieved that we're playing a slower time limit in this game, because he's, despite having some long thinks, he still has 3 minutes 20. And he plays bishop c4. This prevents rook a8. But what does it do against bishop e4 check? If he blocks with the... Okay, he goes bishop d3, but now I've still got rook here. Is there a more accurate way of doing this here, guys? We don't need to rush. Because we've got a knight e3, we've got a million moves that we want to play here. Rook b8 is also incredibly strong. Rook b8 or rook a8? That is the question for the moment. So rook a8, king c1, rook a1, king d2, queen b2, king e1. Now that position's almost certainly winning for black. In fact, it is winning for black. But the game continues. What about rook b8 instead? Threatens rook takes there. If rook d2, we play bishop takes d3. Queen takes d3, rook takes b2, and that's got to be mate. Okay, I'm liking this move. Okay, and just finally, if rook there, king c1, then rook takes, and again, that must be winning. Okay, this feels like the end. So yeah, I'm going to try and give you a little bit of warning here, because this game might end quite soon, but if you're rated between 1500 and 2000, then get ready to challenge me in another mini-match, 10 minutes plus 0 seconds a move. I will be taking that straight after this game. If you're rated above 2000, then I'm going to be back in 2 weeks' time, which I believe is Thursday, April the 9th. Usual time of 12 o'clock midday Pacific Standard Time, 8 PM London. Because yeah, our clocks are going forward this weekend, which I'm not looking forward to, because I can tell you I'm playing chess this weekend, and our Sunday morning game starts at the ungodly hour of 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, have you ever heard of a time so early as that on a Sunday? Well, it turns out that if you lose an hour from that, then that's even worse. Okay, we've got rook takes queen. But does queen takes c3 equal mate? Queen takes c3, bishop c2, rook b1 mate. Queen takes c3, queen c2, rook b1 mate. We have a mate in 2. We're not interested in the queen, guys. We are interested in the hack and in the mate. Now, I'm not confident enough to pre-move this rook b1 because I might have missed something, but I can't see what I would have missed. He can block either way on c2, but then whatever he blocks with will be pinned, and rook b1 will be mate. And there we do, we see it, we have the resignation.